What's up, everybody? I'm here at the home of my dear friend, one of my favorite people in the world, Maurice Rodrigues, who is truly one of the most successful, selfless, amazing turtle heroes in the entire world. He has species here that you won't see anywhere else. And today we're taking an in-depth look at just about everything that he has here. Now, maybe you've seen some of these species before, maybe you haven't, but there are turtles here that are only in his collection in the entire country. This is the only place that you'll see him. And he also has some new things that if you have seen his place on other people's channels, you're going to see them today for the first time with us. So excited to have you here. Let me know in the comments what you think is the coolest species you see here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Here goes nothing.
So it's all about giving them space, as natural environment as you can. I mean, they are in a tub, which, you know, it's not natural, but giving them sunlight, you know, planting the tubs, giving them plants, sand, just make them feel at home, you know, here in New Jersey. And a lot of them do very well. Like, they can stay outdoors in New Jersey, as you know, for a long time. Connecticut's similar climate, like especially all the Cuora stuff. Ruby, which we're gonna see next, she stays out till late October.
That's wonderful.
Which is great, which helps them cycle so they can produce eggs and breed, and you know.
That's great. Ruby's not gonna make this easy, is she?
We'll see. You're gonna catch her anyway.
I am.
We'll see where she is. This needs to be cleaned, but
Ruby! You're gonna see in a second. Ruby girl!
she's sometimes
Very small.
yeah.
Very small turtle.
Sometimes she's right here.
That's not Snowflake.
Oh yeah, so she's right here.
Oh, come on. I'm going
It's
in.
easy, yeah.
Ruby girl. I've known Ruby for a long time. Before she lived here.
I saw you in some of those turtle Conservancy adventure videos.
Yeah. We did a lot of those.
Yeah. This is Ruby.
Yeah.
She looks so good.
She looks tiny when you hold her.
I make every turtle look small. It's the worst. No. You want to keep guessing? This is one that you may not have seen yet. This is Batagur trivittata. So that's the Burmese.
Yeah, Burmese Roofed Turtle.
Burmese Roofed Turtle. And yeah, this is the only one in the US. And she's a female and she needs a mate.
And she's the only one that's been on Fox News.
That's true. That was great with you guys on the news. That was really cool to see. Yeah, so she needs a mate, and Maurice is working on it. He's probably one of the only people in the US, or one on a short list of people who could actually make that happen.
Yeah.
And you know, there are some males, but there's only, as far as I'm aware, there are only 6 females in the entire world that we consider founders. And those are animals that are, you know, with pure genetics from the wild, that should be used to produce the next generation of offspring. So there's only 6 females,
There's
right?
actually 5.
Oh, interesting.
She could be the 6th, but the way she becomes a founder is if she produces hatchlings.
Understood.
So she's not yet a founder, but the moment she produces a hatchling that lives, she becomes a founder.
That makes sense.
She's never been paired with a male?
No. Bill McCord had her for 22 years and couldn't get a male, you know. But we have the males now. I'm not going to say where they are, but they're waiting permits to come here. And we're getting 2 because there's a theory, we'll see if it's true, but there's a theory like Unifera, the plowshare, the males will fight, do a little battle, and
Egyptian
then
tortoises.
get some testosterone going, and then the male that wins will run over and mate with her.
Just like us.
Exactly. But yeah, so she's incredible. Her genes, her DNA is incredibly important. So, and my plan, and Peter Prasha, because I own this jointly with Peter Prasha with Turtle Island, is to breed her and send hatchlings back to that breeding facility in Myanmar. So we really want to help. You know, we don't want any genetic bottlenecks or whatever. So the more genetic diversity we can get into that group, be great. Now, it's not like she's going to save the species. The TSA and WCS have already done that. I have to give them credit. They are the ones. Gerald Kuchling is the one that kind of figured out that they're almost gone. He went to the temple ponds and local fishermen, because some of the 8 that were left, the 5 females and 3 males, he was able to get from temple ponds and from some fishermen that had caught some. So they got those together into a breeding facility in Myanmar, and those have since produced thousands of babies.
Yay.
So they are saved from extinction because of them. I mean, really, and we're going to look at another species here that they did the same thing in Myanmar, which is incredible. So the credit goes to them. We're here with this animal. We're gonna try and set up another insurance colony outside of Myanmar because it's politically unstable. We all know that. There's a military coup right now in the country, and you don't know. The military might say, "Hey, we need to feed our soldiers. Let's feed them with turtle meat." You know, you don't know what's going to happen. So I've been advised not to send her back. In fact, by experts. Steve Platt, he is one of them. He said, "Yeah, let's get a facility in the U.S. if you can. It has to be in a temperate location, and New Jersey obviously is temperate climate. She gets enough time to cool down, and speaking of that, there is one other facility with animals. Outside of Myanmar and my house, the only other place that we know of that has legal animals is the Singapore Zoo, but they're right on the equator." And because it's not temperate, the males are always in breeding color, and they're all of breeding size, and they don't breed because they don't cycle.
Exactly.
So it's like our turtles. If we don't cycle, if we don't cycle our box turtles or wood turtles in New Jersey, they just don't breed, or they breed very poorly. So they haven't bred at Singapore, and we're hoping to be able to do it here.
That's so important for these animals that they have a chance to cool down and start the hormone cascades that are triggered by external factors. So a lot of people think my animal cooling down or my animal hibernating is an unnecessary stress, but it's an important part of their natural biology. And there are a lot of things that happen tied to all sorts of health and hormones, most of them having to do with breeding for these animals. That's such an important part of their life history. It just won't happen if they're not getting that cool down. That's so interesting.
Exactly. The other cool thing to note, if you look at her growth rings, she's really starting to grow again.
She's bigger. So I've known this turtle for a little while now. You actually took a picture of me with her when she was at Bill's for me, which was awesome. And you know what's amazing? This Bill is one of my absolute heroes, so I'm not meant to say this as, a negative, but this turtle, I don't think she was this big. She certainly wasn't this heavy, and you could see her head muscles were atrophied, and her color. Yeah, the colors change. It's just everything. Turtles like being outside, and she wasn't outside at that point. So,
and because of her diet, Bill, with so many animals, and I was saying before, when you have too many animals, too many species, you get overwhelmed, and at some point the animals suffer a little bit. And at Bill's case, he had too many animals. He knows this, and to facilitate feeding the animals, he fed pellet food to everybody. It just made it easier. But here she's getting a diet of greens.
All the greens, as many greens as she wants.
Exactly. In the wild, they eat aquatic vegetation. So I always have greens in here. I grow my own hyacinth, and then I buy store-bought greens too. So because of that, I think she's, also started to grow, put on weight.
She's feisty. She wasn't trying to bite me back then.
Yeah. And hopefully her, internal breeding, her organs and everything are healthy enough to produce babies. That's another thing I'm worried about, because she is stunted. At her age, she's about 25 now. She should be, 85 pounds.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she should be a lot.
It's a big turtle, but she's stunted. She's small,
she's stunted from not being in a big enough enclosure, and the food, and not being out in the sun. So this is a female Elsa latisternum. This is a wild caught from Australia animal. It was wild caught under the permit Bill McCord pulled when he was studying turtles and doing taxonomy work on Australian turtles, which he named several species with that study. And she's got eggs.
No.
Yeah, she's got eggs. So I gotta get some eggs out of her.
Is she fat? Is that why she's got that little...
No, she has an abscess that I can't seem to get out. And she's going to a vet to get rid of that little thing there.
Try to get the eggs first?
Yeah, I didn't want to stress her until I got the eggs out first. But So, and she's really feisty. Do you feel it? No?
I feel... On this side, I feel something. I'm just not as sold.
Oh, okay. When she's full, she's full. Like, then it's undeniable. But she's got some.
Hi.
She lays 2 clutches a year.
Wow.
But they haven't been fertile, unfortunately.
Ooh, she's got good knees.
So we'll
Yeah, no.
we'll try.
I've been having trouble with my knees lately. Thank you, Kev.
Okay, the male.
There are some species that have taunt skin that you can't feel for eggs, and then there are species that have soft skin like this does, but they also, some species have really strong legs and they'll crush your fingers with their knees when you go to palpate.
Yeah.
Acanthochelys, the Malagasy big-headed turtle, are the worst for that. They just kill your fingers when you try to palpate.
These scratch like crazy, especially this male, but so cool. The colors, the male's beautiful, and they have this like one scale that looks like a helmet. Both of them do. It's very interesting looking scale on the head.
He's beautiful. I mean, you're beautiful too, sweetheart. But...
Yep. Gorgeous. Oh, Australian saw-shelled turtle. Yeah. So it's just
like a dragon, man.
Just
so cool.
Yeah, very
These
cool.
are cool.
Very,
These are not something you're going to see
very
often.
Because they're legal Australian. Those
right.
2 words don't
exactly.
You don't hear them together.
Yeah, Australia doesn't let their animals out, which is why bearded dragons came to the U.S. illegally initially.
Yeah.
Even way back in the 70s and 80s when they were first coming in. So, Australia doesn't let its animals out very much, but a couple have come in.
Yeah.
The ones I've heard about are the work that Bill's done, and then also the Baltimore Aquarium got some animals in once upon a time. That all came in. Both of those endeavors included legal paperwork.
Yeah. And I have animals here from Baltimore, so we'll talk about them too. But you can see, 2 animals in a big tub. They, a lot of space, and that's why she's producing eggs. I think every year because but I'm gonna fix these up. Like I said, we're gonna put the dividers and make it really.
It looks great right now. I mean,
really
look at the amount of
solid.
space. This is what animals deserve, and they don't always get. How many animals are living in this huge tub?
Just 2.
Those two relatively
turtles,
small turtles, considering how large this is.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, but this is also Acanthochelys. It's got this awesome, tubercle.
Tony's getting so excited. He travels the world looking for rare turtles, and he's seeing new species that he's never seen before right now.
Is this a new one for you too?
Pallidapectoris, Acanthochelys pallidapectoris.
Oh, a new one. 2 new ones.
2 so far. Let's go.
They're 2.2 in here.
That's a little female.
Yeah.
So there we go. There's a male.
Yeah. Oh, here's a male.
And there's 2 males.
There's
big tail,
2 females.
concave plastron. The female's a little flatter, and she has a smaller tail. But they all have these huge protuberances at the tail end of the posterior end of their.
Oh yeah, these can. I had these out here, in the upper 30s. Can you believe that?
Wow.
This is a greenhouse species.
Wow.
100%. Because remember, they're from northern Argentina, which is snow.
Right.
So these do incredibly well, as do these. I was worried. I started to pull these in, and then I was looking at maps and stuff, and these get very cold.
That's great. It's probably great for them. Not only but great.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Considered the Argentinian snake neck or something?
That would be Phrynops hilari.
No,
the Argentine side neck. This is a species from Brazil. That eats nuts.
Super docile, where a Madagascan would be biting me already, right? If this was the Madagascar,
I thought it was going to bite you because she opened her mouth.
No, but if it was the Madagascar one, it would have bit me already, like pretty badly. But this one, a very docile species, eats a true omnivore. Will eat anything you put in there. Loves bananas, blueberries. Eats, obviously greens.
I'm so happy you have this turtle. It's so great.
Yeah.
You have a breeding pair of this?
I have a breeding pair. Yeah.
Has she grown?
She seems heavier.
She looks bigger to me. She's heavy.
She's heavier.
All turtles love living at Maurice's house because they get fed the way I want to be fed.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, I care about quality when I'm eating my food, but I also do love buffets. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Sometimes you just want to eat. I have gone to the Golden Corral for my birthday. Okay?
And not having a million turtles helps too. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of turtles. Like it looks like a lot, but there are less than 50 exotic turtles here. So when you think about that, that's not a lot. I mean, I've had a lot more.
Normal people, whatever that means, would think you have a lot, but I don't think you have a lot. You just have awesome turtles.
What's the common name on this one? Or the scientific name?
Amazon big-headed turtle. Scientific is Peltocephalus dumerilianus.
I've seen them in Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Yeah. Yeah, the story about the Baltimore one, they're the ones who bred the most of them. This pair, they had a pair that just matched, but the male one day was displaying his penis, and a red-tailed cat ripped it off, and he bled to death. So that
what a
one,
way to go.
yeah, that one pair that was producing so many is now there's still the female there, and I have one of his offspring, one of the males. So, but they're also raising a male, one of his offspring. So hopefully he'll be.
Fingers crossed that you could carry that torch. That's so unfortunate. So these are called the black spine neck swamp turtle, which is in the same genus as those turtles we were looking at before with the rare protuberances here. These ones don't have that coming off the back parts of the fleshy areas, but they have more spikes on the neck. And that's what they're known for. They're just black turtles don't get a lot of respect for being beautiful, but I think they look really cool. I love a black Reeves turtle, but as much as I love black Reeves turtles, in terms of, interesting appearances, this is one of the most interesting black turtles you'll ever see. And just one of the most interesting turtles you'll ever see. So cool.
Yeah, and when you think of snake necks, you got all the snake necks from Australia and Indonesia. This is basically the South American snake neck.
Yeah. Amazing.
And they have an interesting diapause with the eggs. So they've keepers who keep a spixi have figured out that diapause, have been producing them, but actually pallidapectoris, from what I'm hearing, is no one hatches those eggs.
I've never heard of anyone hatching one anywhere in the world. Not to say it hasn't happened, but that would be news.
That would be cool if we could figure out their diapause and start producing pallidapectoris.
Spixi have been produced and have been produced in the U.S., but even those that produce them, the success is very, very fleeting and limited. So that diapause has something to do with it. They're not easy animals to breed, and they're not easy eggs to hatch.
Correct. And you think they come from South America, so I think people keep them too warm. They need that cycling. I've kept them out here in this tub in the upper 30s. Like, to think about that, like with a South American species, you worry. I was worried. I was coming out, checking temperatures and checking on them, but they're fine. They're fine in the cold water.
That's awesome.
So that means I can keep them outdoors longer, which is great, which is what I want.
Better for them. I hope you do it.
Yeah.
I hope that brings success for you.
Yeah. Well, this is another greenhouse species.
Yes, that will do so well.
Future.
Totally. And it's nice to have someone like David Fabius who breeds a lot of these. And, part of the reason, though, is because he's within their range. So it's easier for him to replicate what they need. But, that's just terrific. I love it. I love you. You're so cool. You're a dinosaur. Yeah, you're just a dinosaur.
It runs 24/7. I never run out of water here. I never have.
Wow.
Maybe my neighbors have because of me, but I never run out of water. And like I said, it comes out at 50, up to 52, 53 degrees, which is great when you're keeping spotted turtles and northeastern turtles. Because in the summer, if it hits 90, 100, you'll actually see the turtles start migrating up to the spring head here. It feels like a spring head. And they'll be in the nice cool water. They can cool off.
That's amazing. What are the dimensions for this habitat?
This is 40 by 100 exactly. So 4,000 square feet.
Big habitat.
Yeah.
40 by 100. And Maurice is taking a drink. I love it.
Yeah. So we have ferns. We have blueberries. We have mulberries. Like I said, these mulberries are actually delicious. I eat them all the time. My kids always eat those. And then we have this interesting plant called pistates. A friend of mine, Dave Manzer, gave me a little tiny one, and now you can see it's grown everywhere. Anywhere there's water, it'll just take over basically. And you can eat the stalks. In Japan, they use this in stir fry, and they don't eat the leaves, but it just so happens that Ruby loves it. She eats the leaves, she eats the stalks, she eats everything. So I harvest it when it starts to grow a little too much. So I have a nice food source for her and for the tortoises that are over there.
That's amazing. You
So,
gave
yeah.
me, you dug up a couple bulbs for me,
Okay.
and I tried to get it going, but I just think
Oh.
where I put them wasn't wet enough and they didn't take.
We can get more.
Big male.
This is Monster. I usually don't name stuff, but he's the largest one they've ever recorded in New Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I call him Monster.
How cool is that? We talk about like records with animals. This is the state record for his species in New
Yeah.
Jersey. And then
Yeah.
here's a juvenile.
Yeah. And I have some really cool golden ones. We'll try to find one where the shell is so like gold. It's just kind of unbelievable.
It's amazing. I love seeing how orange they are. And then the big males, their heads are really muscular, really large. And then, of course, their eyes. Oh, their eyes. Wood turtles and their eyes. So beautiful.
Yeah. So the cool thing is I do a program with the local high school, Mount Olive High School. They have a nature center that I help them build. And in the school year, so September through June, they keep a bunch of map turtles for me. So yellow blotch map turtles stay at Mount Olive, but they come back in June. And they just brought them back. I told you I had 20 school kids here the other day, and they were bringing back turtles, and they looking at all the other turtles. And they brought back the map turtles. So you'll see yellow blotch in here. There's ringed
Oh, yeah?
yeah, map turtles in here. And then I have some black knob. So you'll also see them in here if you can. There's one right on the log there. You can see the map turtles. They like to stay right in the center, actually, on those logs. And at night, easiest way to catch a map turtle is at night. You come here with a flashlight or a headlamp, and they're all on the logs, and you just pick them off with a net. So if you want to catch them, that's the time of day.
But not in the wild.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work in the wild.
It doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't work. Don't do that. Don't catch wild turtles. But if you want to catch Maurice's turtles, actually don't do that either.
Yeah, it does. So we got a little spotted turtle. So recently we released a bunch of these. 24 of these, actually they haven't been released yet. So 24 of these are currently in holding at Ohio Metro Park Zoo, and they're going to go back into the wild. They were part of confiscations over the years that ended up here at my house, and they're just too many. I don't need 100 spotted turtles. Now we have a small group of breeding animals that we're going to take hatchlings and then release those hatchlings too, but the adults will stay here. But there's a nice little group. And yeah, there's a bunch, you know. So the species in this pond, we have the wood turtle, we have spotted turtle, we have blandings in here, we have yellow blotched, the ringed map turtle, we have black knob map turtles, and then one exotic turtle we have here is the Japanese wood turtle, and they breed like crazy here, and they stay year round. So, and they're doing very well. So this is just a pile of sand that I threw here above the level of the water, which
That's
is
important.
very important.
Yeah.
The turtles know that they want to be out of the water, and they come up here, and this is where actually I get majority of my eggs. You can actually see, because I was here on Monday with some students, and we were just digging randomly for eggs, and I found an old nest that had hatched. It was pretty deep. These were down there about 7 or 8 inches, probably wood turtles. And this from last year. So they hatch naturally. And then what happens in the spring, a female wood turtle will come and she'll dig a hole, but then she won't lay and she'll run off. So you'll see little holes like this that don't have any eggs, but they just kind of start and then they stop. And this has a little leathery egg in there. But anyway, they do that all spring. And then I also found a nest with the students, luckily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we found 7 eggs like right here, and they were so excited with that, and they're all banded, so
Wow.
we know they're fertile.
Awesome. And sometimes you do get ground hatches out here.
Oh yeah, I do.
So you'll find hatchlings like walking along the perimeter.
Yeah, especially after a rainstorm. You get a heavy rainstorm, and I always come and look at the perimeter. The turtles are trying to get out, and we'll find babies all the time. Yeah,
That's so cool.
Yeah, so we produce maybe close to 100 wood turtles a year here. Maybe 120 box turtles a year, you know, so a lot of turtles.
And you're not just keeping box turtles and wood turtles, you've returned animals to the wild. Can you tell us about that?
Yes.
Is that okay to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually for the first time in United States history, confiscated animals that have come, through U.S. Fish and Wildlife or New Jersey Fish and Wildlife have been put into this program where they come to my facility and others. They do DNA sampling first, and once they have a DNA of an animal, they can match it with a database they have of wild populations that they've already done the work on. So they've gone out and sampled the wild. They have this database. They'll go to collections and sample those, and then they'll match them up. And then the other big step, obviously, is a health assessment. So is the animal healthy enough to put back in the wild? So once they pass the 2 tests and we know where they're from and they're healthy, we then contact the states that where they come from. If it's New Jersey, it's easy because we're here and we work closely with them. We put them back. And then in other states, we have to petition with them, and then hopefully they agree, and then we send them out there. So right now we have 24 spotted turtles in holding at the Ohio Metro Park Zoo. So those are getting ready to be released this year. Maybe they're being released like as we speak, because they're going to be released in June. Last year we released 38 eastern box turtles from here into the wild, and then we have 24 wood turtles that came from here that are going into the wild this year also. So we're just waiting for the release date. We're going to go out and film that too. So yeah, it's exciting to finally get animals that would probably have lived their whole life here, which is kind of nice, but not everyone has 4,000 square feet. A lot of these animals are in smaller, pens, and they don't live their full lifespan, usually in captivity, I think. I don't know, so it's good to see that they're going back. It's actually really important for me too, because I can't keep 1,000 animals. I don't want to keep 1,000 animals. A few wood turtles, great. But I, at one point, had, over 60 wood turtles here. It's just too many. So it's good that they're going back into nature. And if they die in nature, that's fine too. It's part of the cycle.
Yeah.
So that's important that they just get out there and put babies out in the wild. So the other side of it is the babies that come out of here. We also are working with the state to get them back into the wild. So hopefully this becomes a place where the ones that are left here become like a founder group, so we can get babies back.
I love it. And I don't need any reasons to love you any more than I already do. But like, honestly, as someone who's dedicated my life to turtle welfare and advocacy and caring about these animals and trying to do the right thing and promote others doing the right thing, oh my gosh, like that is insane. Because a lot of people, when they're first getting into it, they think, well, I don't get it. Like, somebody collected that animal, it came from the wild, why can't we put it back? Somebody's breeding that rare animal, why can't we just send the babies back to the wild? It's so complicated because we don't know where they're from. We don't know what diseases they might be carrying. We don't know what type of bureaucratic government agencies we might be dealing with in certain areas. New Jersey, I think, has been great for you guys. Yeah. It just warms my heart because it's really happening. Something that we didn't really know if it ever could actually happen.
Yeah,
You're actually saving these species, these animals from these declining species. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. And this is like I'm 55. I've had box turtles since I was 5 years old. First time in history that I know of animals going back to the wild. It's always they're coming this way.
Right.
And this is great to see them leave, because you don't want to have so many. You just want a nice group. And even if I had none, even if all of them went back, I would actually
That's
be
the
happy.
piece to say. Like, if they all go, thank you, Mr. Bullfrog. Yeah. If they all go back, that's the best thing. And if you don't believe that, then you have to really ask yourself about your personal reasons, motives behind keeping animals. Yeah, really, addictions. Such a great word.
Yeah.
Right? So I say all the time, spotted turtles were the first species I bred. Connecticut outlawed them. Now, is Connecticut actually going to enforce that? I hope so, for people that are doing the wrong things. But it's a declining species. They should be protected. If that means I don't have the opportunity to keep them, well, maybe I'm going to find something else to keep, because ultimately the animals in the wild are what's most important.
Yeah, there's so many other ones to keep. So, you don't need to have all species.
Right.
That's crazy that people try to do that,
Yeah, it's not Pokemon.
Exactly.
You don't have to actually catch them all.
Exactly.
Or keep them all in this case.
The 2 cycloderma species in one spot. Aubrys Flapshell and the Zambezi Flapshell. So these were captive bred at Turtle Island by Peter Proshak, and they just arrived this week.
I remember when these hatched. That's a big deal to hatch these.
Yeah. Took forever to get permits. That's why they're this size.
Right, they were hatchlings, and then it took that long.
Yeah, wow. It took forever. And these are offspring from Wayne Hill's animals in Florida. They're nesting down there, and he's been producing them for a few years.
That's incredible.
So
so cool. And you know, this is a species more so the Aubryi than the Fernatum that has been imported. You would see them at reptile shows and things like that, and always kind of made you feel bad. Like, here's this animal that's imported, and it, you know, has very specific needs, and it's going to be a rough road ahead if it even survives at all. And to see captive bred, that is such a rare thing anywhere in the world. And we're talking, this animal was captive bred in Austria.
Yeah,
that's
and the ones
pretty amazing.
That we see, a lot of them that we get that were brought in from the trade have fish hooks in them, and they you know, they don't do well, obviously, and then they don't do well after surgery even to get the hooks removed, and they usually have shell lesions and all. But these are perfect. You know, they're doing really well.
And you do so well with soft shells. That's the thing too, is like how many of these ended up with people who were like, wow, that's a cool turtle. These are really red in coloration. They have kind of like a perpetual frowny face that they always have. They always look really grumpy. And I say like spider tortoises look grumpy. These look really grumpy. Yeah. So to have them end up with you, with you're doing such amazing things with soft shells, understanding what it takes to keep them the right way so that they don't have skin issues and shell issues, all these lesions that they end up getting in captivity. That's amazing.
Yeah, the biggest thing I tell everyone a million times is sand. Sand is important for soft shells. People that keep them with no sand just are not doing them, not keeping them right, in my opinion. Because I don't think if you go anywhere where they exist, you won't find them in the sand. They're in the sand. So if they're in nature in sand, just try to do that in captivity too. They just feel more secure. It must lower their you know, stress levels if they're in the sand, you know. And it's also a predator thing. Think about these things. They're soft. Anything will eat them. So in nature, they have to hide in the sand. So it just, you know, stress, everything, it helps.
Which one of these is smelling a little musky? Is it like a sweet musk?
Yeah, that's probably this one here.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's a sweet musk.
Yeah, so
spicy, garlicky musk.
Like a box turtle, you know. It can literally hide all its limbs.
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Look at that, how tight that is.
Right? So these are flap shells. So these aren't necessarily considered soft shells. Yeah. They're considered flap shells because the way that plastron lines up.
You can't get a finger in there. Look at that. Like I wouldn't be able to palpate this animal. And the same thing with the head. Like, I mean, this is a captive animal. He's kind of docile, but it can close up to where you cannot get a finger in there.
It's so funny up here how they have this over the nuchal area, the cervical area here too. And that kind of covers up and protects their nose. So cool.
Yeah, both from Africa. Exciting. They get quite large. The one I sent to Peter from here was 10 kilograms, but he's got a bigger one. He's got one that's almost 14 kilograms. The one that produced these, the female that produced these, is 14 kilograms.
Wow.
That's a big turtle.
That is a big turtle.
Like
30 pounds?
Yeah.
32 pounds, something like that?
Something like that. So these are Corora Panic, which I'm super excited because these are super cold tolerant. And I think when I get them up to 4 inches, I'm going to put them outside. And I want to see if they could survive the winter, which everyone's telling me that they can survive New Jersey winter. So, and if they can, that's going to be the healthiest thing for them, just to have them outdoors in a naturalistic enclosure. Obviously, it'll be covered. It won't be like the other pens that don't have bird cover. I'm going to build something with, you know, that's completely covered and built into the ground to have thermal insulation.
My plan is to do the exact same thing.
So
yeah.
So I'm excited with these.
So Maurice and I are partners on this project, and I hatch those, and I actually hope to do the same thing. So when we talk about, like, there are all these North American species that are so cold tolerant, that's where they come from in like Anhui province up in northern China. It gets very cold, like 20 degrees below. They're under the ice over the winter. They have a long winter period. So yeah, they should be able to survive Jersey, and I'm hoping that they survive. And I'm banking on the fact that they'll survive in Connecticut as well.
He eats all the trash?
All of it.
The tension in the room. Is he going to go as soon as I touch him? Are you laughing already?
Yes.
Jesus. All right, he's all sandy. Dude, this turtle is huge. Oh my God. Is that good? Look at, he's like growling at me. Holy hell. Okay, I'm going to talk about this turtle. This is, Jesus, going in the water. Woo! Okay, now I'm going to talk about him. I didn't want to drop him. That's Chitra vandijki, which is luckily good at landing. And it is, I mean, these are some of the largest freshwater turtles on the planet. They are the vandijki. Where are they from?
Burma.
They're from Burma.
Yeah.
So they're the Burmese.
Same river, Burmese Narrow-Headed
Softshell.
Same river system as the Batagur trivittata.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why I'm building a greenhouse.
There's so many Burmese species.
Yeah, the greenhouse will have this species in it and the trivittata. That's my plan, at least. And these are the only 4 in captivity anywhere in North America or Europe. Or there may be a pair in Thailand. There's someone posting about it, but no one's ever bred these in North America.
So this turtle was mad at me
And
before.
Look, definitely a male. Look at, oh,
Oh, turtle penis?
Yeah.
Right where? Be careful, he's going to go on you.
We gotta censor that out.
Be careful, his back feet get up high.
Yeah.
I'm like fighting him right now.
The head is lightning fast. And it just feels amazing.
I'm putting him back in.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's a
You
beast.
would think the eyes are way back.
I love you.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Ugh. You can get his head right now if you stop looking at his penis. No. Because he's going back in. The water.
Yeah, you've never seen this. There's none in captivity.
Man, what an animal. He's kicking the crap out of me. I'm like doing everything I can just to hang on to him. He's so strong. Maurice is trying to get the penis shot. The money shot. Oh,
That's nutty.
oh.
Anyway.
I am exhausted. These are big
insane.
turtles.
It's a beast. But this one, according to Peter Paul Van Dyke, who this turtle's named after, he said they have a record of 420 pounds. Think about that. The largest North American turtles, the alligator snapper, they got what, 250, 270?
Yeah, 250 is what a lot of the literature says.
Right.
But I mean, I've seen monsters. I think the biggest one I've seen measured is like in the low twos, like 205. The one at the Bronx Zoo.
Exactly.
I don't know of any animals that were 250. I mean, not to say that I'm the leading expert or anything,
Right.
but like that's something you tend to remember.
So imagine 420. I mean, we couldn't handle it.
That's almost as big as me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We would need a few people to handle it at that size. And that's why they need to get out of here. When I got them from Bill, they're 22 years at Bill's. They're about 12 pounds.
Yeah.
So I was like, 12 pounds. They're 22 years old. They're not going to grow. There's
Yeah.
no way they're going to grow. I can handle that for the rest of my life in a tub like this. And then I got into the loaches, and once I started feeding them loaches, and once I wormed them too. So I wormed them, and quickly after started introducing loaches, they just started to explode in size. So this animal here is approaching 75 pounds. So it went from 12 pounds for 22 years at 12 pounds, and then it's just growing like crazy.
And these are winter holding tubs. You say, wow, that's a big turtle
Yeah.
for this size tub. They do really well. They're not running all over the place, but it keeps them really healthy. It's important to keep them separately so they're not picking on each other and beating each other up. But they will be moved out here in the coming days, weeks, to large, expansive tubs that they'll be able to be in, still individually, but with a lot of space.
A lot of space, and then eventually into a big greenhouse where they're going to have a lot. Like I want to build the greenhouse and their enclosure where you can actually snorkel with them. That's my plan. So you can do underwater videography. It'd be really cool.
I'd like to come and do that.
Oh yeah, you will. You will. And they're in very deep sand. The sand in here is like a foot deep, and they use it. This one happened to be out when we got here, but if you look at the other ones, they're pretty buried. Like that one behind you here is buried under the sand. The female's always buried under the sand. So again, about keeping the stress levels low, keeping them happy. They just grow.
Man, that thing was a monster.
Wow.
Like legitimately a monster.
And not even close, not even a quarter of
I know,
size.
it's small.
Yeah.
Wow, you've done such an amazing job. I saw the animals before they came here. And I mean, they were really impressive and beautiful animals, but there was concern over whether or not they would grow to full size, as Maurice said. They're on their way in a short amount of time, especially considering how old they are.
Yeah.
This is just a blip. So if their growth was like this all the way across, now you've got this where they've just totally spiked.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to see.
It's kind of scary how fast they are growing.
Yeah.
So I got to get that greenhouse going, and you guys are going to help me.
I really wanted to just highlight this species, and we're kind of, I don't know how we're going to edit it, but we're kind of ending off with this species, but I think it's really cool because you've got all these amazing animals and your keeping strategies are so unique in a lot of ways, but just impressive in so many ways. You just do an amazing job. This is a species that I've come to know pretty well, that you've certainly come to know pretty well because of our relationship with Bill McCord, an absolute icon in this field. And this is a species that, as far as I know, only 2 people have bred in the US. Have others?
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Do you know? I'm just making things up.
I don't know.
It's hyperbole. It's, you know, who knows?
I don't know who.
But I know Bill has, and I know you have, and I've never heard of anyone else.
Okay.
So this is the Kimberly bearded snake-necked turtle. So it is it's from the genus Chelidina, snake-necked turtles. And we saw some really amazing adults, and we're going to put some video of that B-roll over this right now so you can see those. Some amazing adults. They grow these tubercles off their chin that just become amazing when they're big adult animals. But this is obviously a young one, and you hatched it.
Yeah, they hatched here, and it took forever to hatch. I thought the eggs were going bad. I think it was 180 days or something like that.
Wow.
So it took a long time.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
It was a long time because we were waiting for permits to get the adults out of the country, and then they bred and laid eggs, and it's great.
It's a big deal.
It's cool. Yeah,
I mean,
it's fun.
I don't know if there's only 2 people who bred them, but there's like, you count on one hand, and all I can count is the 2 that I know.
Yeah. But that's again going back to just giving them the right conditions, and they do their thing. You know, it's like we like to say as keepers, "Oh, we did the." It's like just give them the right conditions, and they do the work.
That's true.
Know?
Yeah, that's a good point. And so few people have even had the chance to see these, let alone breed them. So that's another thing. But they're a large turtle, and they're aggressive. They're the most aggressive of the Chelidina genus. And I had one almost bite me on the nose recently. But this one seems very docile, which is great. And it's just starting to get those little tubercles on the chin.
I feed them a lot. Well, the way I keep everything, if you notice in all my tubs, there's always live fish. And I don't wait till they're gone to put more fish. I wait. I look if I see a couple left, I'll just go get more. So they always have live fish. They can eat whenever they want. So maybe that's why they're not so aggressive, because they're full. They eat when they want, and then they come out and they're not snapping because they don't need food. I don't know.
Yeah.
But all my tubs have a lot of fish all the time.
That's awesome. Thank you for having us.
Oh, no problem.
It's always a pleasure.
Family. Mikasa,
right?
Sukasa. Anytime.
You make my heart feel full, and that's important. And I just want you to know that I'm your biggest fan, literally and figuratively. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm so proud. I'm proudly rooting for you from a couple states over, always. And I'm always just a call away if you ever need anything. Cool. This is what it's all about. People doing it the right way, working together, partnerships, collaboration. And doing it all for the animals. Yeah,
that's a good point. Like collaborating with private keepers and zoos, just you know, open it up, because there are a lot of zoos that are very, I would say, snobby. They don't, you know, they think, you know, the privates don't know what they're doing, but that's not true. There are private people that do such a good job and produce more animals than zoos do, you know, because they're focused. A lot of people, you know, zoo has to do multiple species and they don't always have the space, but private people could really focus and you know, produce a lot of animals and make a difference.
But if you're a keeper out there, this is why you do things the right way. Because yes, some institutions will turn their nose up at some of the private keepers, but that's because we've burned bridges. I say we because I'm a keeper. I like to think I'm more than just a keeper, but we need to keep doing everything we can to earn the respect that we deserve. And this is the way you do it.
Hit subscribe, join the crew. Just turtles. There's always something new.